What's up, guys? I'm Bradu. It is, I'm losing track of the days. It's got to be March 8th. 100 Days of Sketch Cards, day 30 something. 36, I guess. Yesterday was a really interesting day for me, art-wise. I did a lot of drawing. I'm working on that Gypsy Queen baseball set. I got 6 of them done, which is good. That's, I think, the most I've ever completed in a day was 7, so I was pretty close to that. I should have just busted 2 more out just for that, but no. But I had an interesting experience yesterday that has me thinking about maybe I almost said revolutionizing, but that is so not the right word. But it could have a pretty major impact on how I work in a positive way, mostly. And I've been talking about this a little bit for a while, like the battle between quantity versus quality, needing to speed up my drawing without losing quality. That's the problem, is I don't want to lose quality. So I've always been really careful with, especially sketch card sets, not doing a shoddy job. I want every card to be something that, you know, collector likes, or you know, I think it has a lot to do with building a solid reputation. If you're doing crappy work to meet a deadline, just busting something out really fast, then you're not going to get as many commissions and not going to get as many companies wanting to hire you back or things like that. So at the same time, the way that you get paid for sketch cards, you don't get paid per hour, you get paid per card. And even with the artist proofs, it's you know, you get a ratio, so even that is based on per card. And so the more cards you're able to do, the more you get paid, not the better art you do, the more you get paid. And I was thinking about that a long time ago, because you know, one of the first sets I did like 20 sets, or 20 cards, and I saw what a couple of the other artists were doing. Some of them who were, you know, clearly did several hundred, and I'm not saying they're bad, but I was like, this guy, even if I'm getting paid more per card, which I think I was, is pumping out probably like 10 cards or more in the time it takes me to do one, because he had a more simple comic book style. And I was like, man, like, he's actually making money. So I don't know, that whole concept is what has been on my mind, and how do I do that. And then yesterday, while I was drawing, Lee Kosei, or I think that's how you say his name, did a Ustream live art cast, and he was drawing sketch cards for a set. And so it was funny, because I was trying to draw myself, but I was so interested in him and what he was doing that I was trying to, like, watch him too. And so I did take a break at one point, and I was having a conversation with him, you know, I'm typing in on the chat room or whatever, about that, about speed. And he was talking about how some of the first sets he did, he would do, you know, super fast drawings to do a whole bunch of cards and get paid more that way. And he's changed it a lot now, but he's like, you know, just looking at the way that he worked, it was very similar to what I do, and yet very different in the way he approaches it. In other words, yesterday he was doing work for a set, doing portrait style drawings, using Copic markers from photo reference. I mean, all of that is similar to what I do, but I just have a very particular and meticulous way I go about it. And he just pulls up this photo and just starts drawing away and goes for it. And anyway, what I'm getting at is, at some point during that, I'd watched him do a couple cards, and it seemed like they were going pretty quick, like, you know, I don't know, 40 minutes, half hour, something like that. And then he was like, here, I'll show you, like, I'll do one a little quicker, I won't dink around. And And I sat and watched, and he did a card from start to finish in about under 20 minutes. And then, I mean, he did kind of spend a few minutes at the end with final touch-ups, but it was done enough he could call it done in under 20 minutes, no problem. And it just kind of fascinated me to see that happen in front of my own eyes. And then I was like, so he was done, and he clicked, he went offline, and I was still drawing, and I was like, man, that's weird. And so I just kind of approached my next card differently, and I just started drawing a little quicker, and I got done with it, and I was like, I felt pretty fast. Like it wasn't. I usually take an hour at least on just the marker portion, for instance. I was pretty sure it was under an hour. And I told you guys a couple days ago I did one that I timed at 45 minutes. I wasn't like setting a timer, but I knew what time I started it and I knew what time I ended it. So I was like, I just did that in 45 minutes. That's got to be a record for me. So this one, after I did that one, I was like, you know what? Like, that did seem pretty fast. I'm actually going to time this next one and try and do it fast. And I did that. And so I looked at the clock and I started the card, and I went just with more confidence and being less meticulous. So I just went in with my darks, and then I, worked the lights back into it. And like I said, it might have something to do with this surface, because you can't really build up layers, so I have to kind of skip some steps, and that helped speed things up. But I did the next card, and it took me 34 minutes. And I know that's the fastest I've ever completed a card, or the marker portion of a card. And so I was like, man, wow. And also, I feel like both those two that I did at the end of the night last night that were quicker are of comparable quality. I think if I lined up all of the cards I've done, I don't think you'd be able to pick out the ones that I spent less time on. I could be wrong. That would be a good test. Maybe I'll try that after the set's released, see if you guys can figure it out. So anyway, it just has me thinking, man, if I go into it with a different mindset when I'm drawing, maybe I can that's cutting my time in half or more. That's taking a card that usually takes me a good 2 hours and putting it at about an hour, start to finish. That's including the pencil and all that. And that one, I don't know that I want to start cutting time on my penciling, because I still believe the most important thing is to get an accurate likeness. And so you've got to take care in that step to get everything in the right place. And I think that's where a lot of people kind of skip, and I don't want to skip that. Rush. I don't want to rush that step and go, looks close enough. Moving on, got to keep going. I want the likenesses to still be really accurate all the time when I'm doing something from photo reference, which is almost always. So anyway, it's just got me thinking, like maybe I can approach a lot of my art differently. And it also has me especially thinking I want to focus more on sketch cards right now, and maybe even stop taking commissions on larger stuff for a while, even though I'm getting requests for them. I've got at least two that I'm committed to, that I will do. And I've been watching all these pastel videos too, so I am interested in going that way, but I feel like I have to focus on one thing to really make some progress with it before I move on to something else. And so yesterday was also fitting with my whole theme of the month, in that I was experimenting a lot. Doing a timed drawing is an experiment for me. And I probably could get away with showing you guys that, because I did get the okay from Topps to do some of them on an Artcast, but I don't think I want to. He had said, go ahead and do one or two on an Artcast, and I did the Maddox yesterday, and I also showed the Mike Piazza that I was working on. So I don't want to show too many of those, just to, you know, cover my bases. But I don't know. It could be any number of things that caused me to be able to work faster. I think having just seen Lee do his so much quicker gave me a different outlook and a different confidence. It wasn't necessary. Confidence is not the right word, because it's not like I'm not confident when I work, but I just tend to be very careful, and every mark I make with care. And I was not doing that. I was like, this is a dark area here, I'm putting a dark shape in there, rather than slowly working up to the darks, if that makes any sense. So I guess what I'm getting at, the shortcuts I would start taking if I do this, is in layering, like get to the darker faster without layering so many layers. Have you guys seen the movie Waking Life? I used to love that. It's about lucid dreaming mostly, and just kind of a philosophical movie. But there's a discussion in there where this guy's explaining this crossword puzzle. And I think it was like prisoners or something, like somebody who was secluded from society had done this crossword puzzle. And they gave him this puzzle the day before it was released into New York Times or whatever. And then they did a different crossword puzzle a week later or whatever. But they had the prisoners do that a day after it was released into the public. And they did significantly better on the one that was done the day after. Like, the answers are out there. Like, it was almost like, this is kind of what I'm talking about, but it's a little different, because this is more like brains being connected without us realizing it. But it reminded me of the thing that the brain switch I had that allowed me to draw quicker yesterday. Reminded me of when I had, years and years ago, I had done my first couple sketch cards and didn't like it. I was like, oh, drawing on trading cards, that sounds cool, but I was like, it's just too limiting. And I had kind of scrapped it and put it aside and decided it was too small, I can't work at that size, or I can't do my best work at that size, moving on. And then when I discovered all of these other sketch card artists, and that there's this big thing in the trading card market, I was like, wait a minute, if other people can do it, I can do it. And knowing that, see, it's a little different. It's not like knowing that the answers are out there. Knowing that other people can do this put me in a different mindset, and I started doing sketch cards again and improved them. I didn't have that block in my head saying, it's too limiting and too small, you can't do it. I was like, this guy can do it. It's doable. I got to figure out how. And so I started working on it and improving. And so that's kind of where I am right now with the speed thing. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing that other people can do it a lot quicker than I'm doing, and still do really nice work. That's the thing. I'm not talking about somebody who can bust out, 10 in an hour and they're crap. I don't want to be that. But if I can make the same amount of money in half the time, I do want that. Anyway, that's what's been on my mind today. Today has been a slow day. I got one card done this morning, but we've had like a family, like Nori's sister came over, and I knew she was coming over, but I didn't know that her kids were coming over, and so I thought I was going to have a whole day of drawing, and the last several hours have been babysitting, which is great. I haven't seen my nieces in a long time, so it was good, and they were fine. But the last 4 hours I thought I was going to be drawing, I was not. So, I did do a lot yesterday, and I'm ahead of schedule now on this set. I've got 4 more cards to do by next Friday, so I've got time. I mean, even if I took the rest of the day off, which I won't, I will still have plenty of time this week to finish them. Ideally, I would like to get them finished tonight, but now I don't think I will. However, the whole speed thing, I don't know, maybe I'll get 2 or 3 done after dinner and be ready to rock and finish it up Monday, Tuesday, whatever. It'd be nice to send in a set a couple days early rather than the last second. Alright, that's a long video for just talking. Thanks for watching. Go get 'em, Tiger. See you guys later.